Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Paul Reed and I'm a professional photographer. So firstly, what I want to say is that I know photographers that can go out there with multiple camera bodies, multiple lenses, and they're not hampered in any way. It doesn't affect their photography in any way. That's the way they work. For me, and I would say most other photographers, the more gear that you have and the more you're switching about, the more gear that you carry with you, the worse our photography gets. The first thing that I need to establish whenever I'm choosing what gear that I'm going to take with me whenever I go out with a camera is what my goal is that day. There's a difference between going to do a particular photo shoot when you know exactly what you're going to be expecting, when you know the end goal and what the look is that you're going to be wanting as the end result, and just going out with your everyday carry camera. Let's say I'm going to be doing a photo shoot, I'm going to be doing a portrait session, then that's quite easy for me because I know that my ideal focal length for a portrait would be maybe 35mm, 50mm in order to achieve what I want to get out of that portrait with ease without having to, really kind of fight against any particular focal length. So 35 or 50mm, if I had a choice and I was doing a shoot, then I would probably pick either a 35 or a 50mm because I can really specialize my equipment knowing who the subject is, what I'm going to do with them, and knowing that I've got full control over that photo shoot, so I can easily pick the right camera and right lens for that shoot. Take this shoot that I did of Khadija, for instance. I knew the whole concept of this and I knew the result that I wanted to achieve at the end of it. I only had to take one camera with me and one lens specific to this shoot. And what I decided on was an old vintage 50mm Leica lens because I knew I was going to be wanting that vintage look. It was going to tie in with what she was wearing and the whole photo shoot itself. Now, normally I would be excited about going out with a rangefinder camera. So like say, something like maybe like the M6, or I've got an M240 that I could use. But I knew that I was going to be shooting her face in reflections. So I was going to have to line it up exactly so that her face was going to be in the reflection of those mirrors. Rangefinders are not accurate enough to get it that right. It's very minimal movements that you're moving, and it'll just be off just by a tad. And then, I'll take the pictures thinking they're all great, and then afterwards look at the photographs and the face won't even be in that mirror. So I knew a rangefinder wasn't going to be the right way to go for that. So what I did was I used the Leica SL because what you see is what you get through that. I can just look through and it's mirrorless, so it's going to tell me exactly how it's going to be positioned. It's going to be accurate for that. The other thing as well is I knew that I could adapt a 50mm M mount lens to this camera very easily, and it's so easy to focus and everything with this big huge viewfinder that you get. So I ended up using the Leica SL for that shoot and it turned out fantastic. Now, would this be the setup that I would use if I was just going out shooting, like as in not knowing what was going to be coming that day, if I was going out on the streets, if I was just going to be carrying my camera that day? And the answer, absolutely not. In the main, whenever I go out, I do not want very specific equipment that is kind of like a one-trick pony, something that is easy to use for one particular shoot or one particular type of photography. So in the main, what I want is something that does everything as well as it can possibly. Now this camera will have to be something that I get to know really, really well, because this is going to be a camera that I'm going to want to go out and I'm going to want to be able to capture moments really quickly, and whatever life throws at me that day, I want that camera to be able to capture it no matter what. So that could be street photography, it could be portrait, it could be anything, you know, it could be a landscape photograph, but whatever it is, when I don't know what life is going to throw at me that day, what images I'm going to come across, I need to make sure that that's a camera that I know through and through, that I know every setting on. And that's why I like to kind of stick to one camera and one focal length for 90% of the time, and keep those other options, those other focal lengths, for photo shoots. The 28mm focal length is my ideal focal length for street. It does that job extremely well for me, and there's a number of reasons behind that. Firstly, it's getting in the whole picture. So no matter what is happening, I know that I'm going to be able to capture that. I can get close and I can take photographs as they happen, moments that happen in the blink of an eye. 28mm is just, you know, my focal length for street photography and capturing moments very quickly. The other thing with 28mm is the amount of times where I've had something like a 35, definitely a 50, and my back's been up against the wall and I'm trying to get this whole building in or something, and it just isn't happening. So I know that with 28mm, you know, I can make sure that I get the whole story in. Another thing about 28mm is that when you're zone focusing, so that, you know, for me, you know, shooting at f8 and then maybe setting the, you know, the focus ring for like around 2 meters, something like that. With the 28mm, the hit rate is so much better than what it would be with a 50mm. With 28mm, you've got this depth of field that is going to allow you to make some small errors in judging how the distance is of somebody from your camera. The perfect combo for me would be a camera that I know really well with a 28mm lens on it, and that would be like an everyday carry camera. And like I say, it's the perfect focal length and combination for street for me. So if street photography was a shoot, then I would choose that over anything else anyway. But I also take portraits while I'm on the streets. Now, you might think, well, why do you not just take another camera and another focal length, or even just an interchangeable camera with different focal lengths, and just bring those with you? That tends to kind of confuse me a lot whenever I'm starting to switch lenses and things, and then I'll start to think, oh, maybe I'm going to do some 50mm street today. I like to keep things very straightforward, very simple when I'm out. So the majority of the portraits that I've taken have been with a 28mm lens. Here's some of those portraits. But 28mm is not the perfect focal length for portraits, in my opinion. You've got to work a little bit harder with a 28mm focal length. You can get fantastic portraits. There's a lot going for it because you're going to be closer to the subject. So 28mm means you're going to be closer to the subject and you're going to have more connection with the subject. Now that is really, really important. And actually, you know, over compression and over background blur and over all the technical stuff to do with the actual camera and focal length, connection with the subject for portraits, that's king. Just a quick one for all of those asking me for all of my workshop dates. All of the dates and locations are now on my website. I'll put, at the end of this video, I'll put a little card or something up with all of the locations and dates so that you know, and you can book a workshop with me. It'd be great to see you. If you can't make any of those workshops, don't forget I've got an online course that you can do, and that's on my website, and that's really fantastic for those that maybe can't make a workshop but they really want to learn everything that I know. They really want to master monochrome photography. Now, I still think that you can have connection with somebody up until, say, like a 50mm lens. I still think you can still get that connection with them because you're still close enough. Once you start to get to 85mm, 90mm, there starts to be this separation between the photographer and the subject, especially on the streets. Now, once again, if it was a photo shoot and I was, thinking, right, I want a lot of background separation, I want it to be really, really flattering, then yeah, maybe I would choose an 85 or a 90, but I would make sure that I already had a connection with that subject before, because you're just so far away from the subject whenever you're taking those portraits. And like I say, connection is key to great portraits. So yes, for a photo shoot where you've already got that connection. The other thing with things like an 85 or a 90 on the streets is there's a lot of distractions on the streets. There really is. So whenever you ask somebody and for a portrait, to take a portrait of them, and then you've got this, say, 90mm lens, then because you're going to be quite a bit away from the subject there, you're going to have people walking in between you and the camera, you and the subject. You're going to have people just distracting the subject as well. And then even kind of trying to, tell the subject, what to do, or maybe you just want them to stand slightly to the left or the right. It's going to be just more difficult in a noisy, busy street situation. So once again, look, 28mm is such a good focal length for portraits. It's just trickier to do without distortion. I have to place the subject in a very specific place on, within the viewfinder, because I know that there's certain places that it's going to distort more than others. It's very rare that you'll see me take a 28mm portrait vertically, simply because, look, what is up and down? Down is just more of the body and up is just the sky. There's much more going on to the right and the left of somebody than there is up and down. But the other thing as well is you tend to get closer whenever you switch it to, to vertically. You tend to kind of go in a bit more, and the closer that you get, the more distortion that you get. If you're filling the person, filling the frame with the person vertically, then say that the top of the head is going to be right on the edge of the frame. And then if that's the case, then that's the area that's probably going to distort. So yeah, with a 28mm, you've got to kind of work at it. 35mm, not so much. Why don't I use something maybe like the Ricoh GR or, something along those lines for my everyday carry camera? Well, for me, for the portrait side of things, a couple of things. The first is I don't get quite enough separation between subject and background because it's APS-C. So that's number one reason. It also only goes to 2.8. So you're getting a lot less separation from this particular camera. The other thing as well is that whenever I ask somebody, asked to take a portrait of somebody, this camera just isn't taken seriously. So I kind of need something that is, discreet, but not something that looks like I'm not serious at all. For me, my favorite everyday carry cameras would be either something from the Leica Q series or a Leica M mount camera, just because those cameras are, nice and small, but not too small. So they're kind of taken seriously, but they're, discreet enough to kind of get away with street photography and, taken seriously enough for street portraits. So it's either something from the Q series or something from the M series. There are other manufacturers out there, obviously, that do great cameras. You know, Fuji, their lineup are kind of almost aesthetically similar sometimes to the Leica cameras. And, you know, if you don't want to splash out loads of money on a Leica, then, you know, for me, Fuji is a great option. And then you could use a Ricoh GR, of course, but for me, it's just that separation. I'm not getting enough separation. At least with the Fuji, you know, I could put a lens on there, and those lenses, you know, the Fuji lenses are really quite a small form factor. So, you know, putting one of those on and something that does have a decent shallow depth of field, then at least you're going to be able to get the portrait and the street stuff with maybe just one body and one lens. There's so many brands, we've got so much choice these days, and whatever your choice is, that's fine. Just get to know that camera through and through. If it's an everyday camera for you, then it wants to be something that's light enough that you're going to carry it everywhere. It's also got to be something that, although not big, kind of taken a bit seriously, so that it looks like you kind of know what you're doing when you ask somebody for a portrait. Whatever it is that you choose, make sure that you use it often. Get to know that camera and that focal length through and through. The more you keep switching around, switching focal lengths, and the more you switch cameras, the more your photography is gonna suffer. So just make a decision and just run with it. Run with it for as long as you can until that camera and that focal length is like second nature to you. Of course, just like I do, if you're doing a particular photo shoot where you've got time to fiddle about, you've got time to decide on focal length and all of that sort of stuff, then that's the time to really kind of experiment, I think. But when you're going out and you want to be sure that you're going to capture moments effectively and efficiently, then choose something that you really know well and choose a focal length that is going to allow you to capture those moments quickly. Don't forget, you can pre-order 2 new books from me. These are mini versions of the 2 books that are completely sold out now. So I did a limited run of a book called Monochrome Moments and one called Monochrome Portrait, and they all sold out because it's a limited signed edition. These are also going to be limited signed editions, but these are going to be mini versions. So we've got a mini Monochrome Portrait and we've got a mini Monochrome Moments book, and you can pre-order those now. The other thing as well is, don't forget, if you haven't got your Monochrome Madness Handbook yet, this is, I'm so proud of this book. There's loads and loads of portraits in there, loads of street photography. There's like little scripts for whenever you're approaching strangers. There's just loads and loads of, you know, writing in here, but there's loads and loads of portrait and street photography in here. So this is a great book to carry in your camera bag. I'll leave you with those workshop dates. Look, thank you so much everybody for watching. I really do appreciate all of your support. It means the world to me. I'll see you next time.